Hi, I'm Bob Huggins. I've got something really exciting coming up that the Norman May Huggins Endowment Fund is helping with. A good friend of mine, Johnny Cahigas, is from Del Barton, and we were talking about how lucky we were to have been raised in these small West Virginia towns. We always had a community that supported us, and that's true for the whole state. It's just a West Virginia thing. So on December 16th, we're having the Huggy Bear Toy Drive at the Del Barton Opry House. The community of Del Barton has already stepped up and donated, volunteered, organized, you name it, they did it. It's incredible. But we need all we can get. You can donate or sign up as a recipient for your kids at www.hugginsfund.org. Any amount will help, and I'm excited and proud to be part of it because we want to make sure these kids today feel the support we did growing up. And they'll look back one of these days and say, man, am I lucky to be from West Virginia.
It's time to talk West Virginia basketball. Coming from the Stone Church Studio in St. Albans, West Virginia, this is the Full Court Press.
It's time for a new edition of Full Court Press. This is Michael Sussman here with Derek Bailey and Anthony Lewis. We're going to dive right in. We don't have much time. WVU falling 79-73 to St. John's on Friday night in what was just another gut punch game, this time at the Coliseum. 39% from the field. You give up 18 offensive boards, but it was there for the taking.
You know, they're just running out of gas. There's no depth. There's not a lot of things you can do. I don't want to kill one player, but, you know, if you take Seth Wilson out, who are you going to put in? Wilson goes 0 for 11, needs to make some shots. I mean, it's just plain and simple. He's probably not a guy that you want to rely on playing 30, 35 minutes, but it is what it is right now. He's more of an energy guy that's going to come off the bench and maybe shoot 3 or 4 times. If he hits some shots, then you can leave him in, but he's got to be better than 0 for 11. Navarre goes 0 for 3, so you got 2 guys combined 0 for 14. And the rest of the team, I thought, played very well offensively anyways. Edwards gets in foul trouble. That hurt. But it's just, you know, overall, it's another disappointing loss to where the game was there. Like you said, the game was there for the taking, and WVU could have had it. I think with Kriisa and Battle, this team's probably 6-1 with a win over Virginia. Maybe the only loss is SMU.
Yeah, just looking at the stats, you know, you go through here, a West Virginia team with 12 turnovers usually finds a way to win, right?
Right.
Usually
yeah.
It's when you get into 15 to 20, which we've been known to do.
Oh, many times.
But, you know, you get 12 turnovers, you look at that number, you think, okay, they can survive that. And then you only take 10 threes. Usually we shoot 25, 30 of these things, and we shoot ourselves out of games. It was there for the taking, but like you mentioned, simply ran out of gas. They just started double teaming, triple teaming Jesse Edwards down low, banging him around. And to make that stop until you start hitting shots, that's going to be the continuous game plan for everybody coming in to play West Virginia. Luckily, West Virginia will get Kriisa back soon.
Yeah, in dire need of Kirk Kriisa. You only had 6 assists in the contest in this one, and Kirk Kriisa averaged 5 a game at Arizona. He's probably going to have an opportunity for more, and you desperately need it. There's some play sets where the Mountaineers are just confused. Balls are going into the second row at the Coliseum, and the cohesion is not there. Hopefully Kirk can bring that.
See, the thing with Kriisa, too, is he gives you another play. He's a playmaker, but he also gives you an outside threat. He can at least shoot the ball somewhat. Right now, it feels like the shooting is inconsistent at best. I mean, you don't know where it's going to come from, but Kriisa provides some stability. He's a playmaker. He'll be able to make some shots for you, and he is also a leader. I really don't think there's a lot of leadership on the court right now, and that's from where the guys are not used to playing with each other. You know, I mentioned Wilson earlier. He hasn't been in a role like this. Kobe hasn't been in a role like this where they're playing multiple minutes. Edwards and Slazinski right now seem to be the only consistent offensive players that West Virginia has. And, you know, I'm not trying to knock Josh Eilert. He's only in his 6-7 he's coached 7 games now. Rick Pitino's coached 40 years. The obvious coaching advantage was Pitino in this game. And, I mean, it showed up, and that's fine. It's going to. But what needs to happen is they need to start building some confidence against some of these against these non-conference teams that are kind of mid-majors, like, you know, Monmouth, which you lost to. But you have to beat these teams and start developing as the season goes to improve, because it's going to be a long year if you don't.
I'm still just digging through this box score. St. John's was 7-27 for 3.
That's horrible.
I can see why ESPN left our game and went over to Where they go? They left. They
They went to Kansas and UConn.
Yeah, I can see why they did that because the way West Virginia and St. John's were shooting.
And another thing, too, about that, you look at the box score, and what stands out is the 30 of 43 at the foul line. You missed 13 foul shots in this ball game. 13. That's a sign of fatigue, too, though.
Yeah, and that's going to be a problem until, again, if they can get some guys back. And then also they're going to need to figure out ways to spell some of these guys. They don't have anybody that can come in for Edwards.
That's what I mean. It's fine to take somebody out, but the issue is who are you going to put in? Right now, you just don't have anybody to put in.
And that was just the case last night. Edwards only played 24 minutes, only 9 in the second half. And his skill set is running the floor, crashing the glass. He's not really a step out and hit a jump shot inside out type of big. Joel Siriano for them last night was. That gave them a big advantage on the interior. And yeah, just not enough depth underneath.
And it's going to be all year long. It's going to be a trend. I mean, I hate to say that. We've been talking about it all year, and it's just not going anywhere. So I don't know how you overcome this issue, but you're right. Edwards wants to run up and down the court, get the little lob, the little lob for the dunk. I mean, that's his game, but West Virginia really can't get out in transition because they don't have the bodies to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to call out the crowd as well. I was in attendance. I know we're 3-4, West Virginia is, but just so many empty seats in the Coliseum yesterday. It's a primetime game. It's the Big East Big 12 battle. We can't get narcissistic here. Come on, fans. We got to come out. Back with more on Full Court Press after this.
The Full Court Press will be back after these words from our sponsors.
Have you been injured at no fault of your own? The Masters Law Firm is on your side and here to help you in your time of need. With decades of experience, we've successfully helped clients recover hundreds of millions of dollars in compensation. Our team understands the toll that injuries take on victims and their families, offering both legal expertise and unwavering support. Visit our website at themasterslawfirm.com or call us today at 304-342-3106 for a free consultation. Your journey to recovery starts with us.
Hey, it's Dave Allen for Parmar Stores, and yes, another holiday season is here. Now, you don't need me to tell you how hectic it all is with the shopping, the cooking, the decorating, family, and friends. Well, just remember your local Parmar store is here for you during the holiday season and year-round. From gas to groceries and all the other things you need or may run out of, Parmar has you covered. We are the official convenience store of Marshall University and of the West Virginia Secondary Schools Activities Commission. Happy holidays, and remember, if there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon.
Hi, welcome to Huntington.
Hi, I'm calling about the asterisk free checking from your commercial. How long does the free trial run before fees start?
Oh, our Asterisk free checking is always free to open and never requires a minimum balance.
Really? Never? Like never ever?
Yep, never ever.
That's actually fantastic. Thanks.
Thank you for banking with Huntington.
Learn more at huntington.com/checking. Welcome to Huntington.
Welcome back to the Full Court Press.
We're back on Full Court Press. Michael Sussman here with Anthony Lewis and Derek Bailey. Guys, the Backyard Brawl basketball version comes up on Wednesday. Pitt coming in 5-2, losers of 2 out of their last 3 after falling to Missouri and Florida. They beat Oregon State. So what's it going to take to flip the mojo? WVU in desperate need of a victory.
I'm really not sure what it's going to take to flip the mojo. I haven't seen a whole lot of Pitt this year. Haven't watched them much, but they did make the tournament last year, and they beat Iowa State in round 1. I'm not sure. I think they lost round 2. This will be another possible tournament team that West Virginia is going to have to play, that somebody's going to have to step up other than Edwards and Slazinski. We're going to have some offense from somewhere. Maybe we can muddy this game up, make it ugly, and win it. But you got to find a way to win. This is Pitt. This is the key game on the schedule, in my opinion.
Historically over the last, since they've brought the game back, West Virginia's won the game every year. I think 6 in a row at this point. But when West Virginia beat Pitt last year, we said that's probably one of the worst basketball teams we've seen play. And then they somehow turned it around, made the tournament. This is not the same Pitt team that we're used to seeing. Wednesday night's game is going to be a literal backyard brawl.
To your point about Pitt, like as the season went on last year, they improved a whole bunch. By the end of the year last year, they might even have been better than West Virginia by the end of the year last year.
Absolutely. And they've got to make sure that they are able to match the intensity of Pitt, because they realize probably that they're a better basketball team, and they're going to be ready to get back on the right track. And 6 in a row will upset you.
And with all the new players that West Virginia has, they're not going to be ready for maybe the backyard brawl like they're, sure, Syracuse had a rivalry with Georgetown for Edwards. This is going to be a different level of intensity that they're going to see, so hopefully they're ready.
Absolutely.
Different Pitt team, different West Virginia team. They held the Panthers to 56 points last year, but you had a lot of defensive options. Joe Toussaint was here in company to really pressure them. Their leading scorer, Hinson, was held to 5 points. Let's pick the game. Backyard brawl. Who wins Wednesday?
Yeah, listen, man. I mean, at this point, I hate to even say it. These words, I don't even know why you've put us in this position. But if West Virginia continues to play the way they've been playing, I just don't see a way for them to beat Pitt.
I'm in agreement with Anthony. The depth's going to come into play. We say it every game. I mean, you still don't have Kriisa. You're not getting any guard play. I mean, the guard play is not non-existent, but it's not good enough. I see Pitt winning this game, unfortunately.
So much negativity in this room right now.
I'm not even being negative. I'm
just being realistic.
Yeah.
They're 5-2. They haven't really beaten anybody yet. Give me West Virginia. It's a team. WVU has not figured out how to win yet, but there's been a couple of spurts that give me hope. I think Seth Wilson will bounce back with a few made shots. Jesse Edwards, he'll play a little bit smarter. We'll find a way. I think it'll be a slugfest. I agree. As we're going to shift to a quick national headline. This is a shocker. Kentucky falling 80-73 to UNC Wilmington at Rupp. That's the crazy part to me.
This is insane. Like Kentucky every year, that's what I said about November and early December basketball. You get these upsets, and these mid-majors always have guys that hang around. I don't know what UNC Wilmington has. I have no idea. I've watched Kentucky. They got a kid, Jeff Shepard's son. I don't know if y'all remember Jeff Shepard or not. Now, going into last night, I didn't see what he was last night. He's shooting 60% from three-point range. Kentucky has national title level talent like they always do. They have looked at times like a national title contender, and then they've looked like they may lose in the first round. I don't know. UNC Wilmington is John Calipari's alma mater, so they just paid them a nice chunk of change to come and beat their rear end at Rupp Arena.
And speaking of upsets, Drexel knocks off Villanova this week, and don't forget, Mountaineer fans, Drexel comes to Morgantown next week. Zach Spiker, Morgantown native, worked for John Beeline. His dad is John Spiker, longtime WVU football trainer. He's got that team rolling, so be aware of Drexel.
Had an upset, Wisconsin knocking off third-ranked Marquette 75-64. Marquette throwing up enough bricks to build a house, 7 of 29 from 3.
I watched a little bit of this game yesterday. I don't know what Marquette's problem was. They couldn't make anything, of course. And let me be the first to say, though, the Kohl Center is a place where everybody goes to die. Like, no one wins there. Wisconsin, it feels like, has lost like 30 games in that building in 25 years or whatever it's been there.
Going to be back soon with Coach Bob Huggins. Hit us up on the text line if you got any questions at 304-909-7040. Back with Hugs on the other side.
Tired of manually updating your online payment information every time your card is lost, stolen, or expired? Let CardSwap from Summit Community Bank take care of it for you. CardSwap lets you update your payment information for multiple merchants and subscriptions all in one place. Simply add your Summit debit or credit card to CardSwap and we'll update your payment information automatically. Convenience when you need it most. That's service beyond expectations. Sign up for CardSwap today through Summit Community Bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
In an ever-changing world, one thing you can always count on is Walker Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Hurricane. You know, Gene and Ryan built their business the old-fashioned way by making friends. There are no gimmicks or games at Walker, just honest, fair deals, and their method is so straightforward it may shock you. Friendly service and a huge selection of inventory with more arriving daily. When you're ready for your next vehicle, take the short 20-minute drive from Charleston or Huntington to Walker Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, just off the Hurricane exit of I-64. Walker Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, making friends one deal at a time.
Welcome back to the Full Court Press.
And we are back on Full Court Press. Michael Sussman is here with Anthony Lewis and once again Coach Bob Huggins, who hasn't left us yet. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
So, Coach, you got to go to the St. John's game over the weekend. You got to visit an old friend in Rick Pitino. How was the experience overall?
Oh, it's great seeing Rick. We talked on the phone, but I hadn't seen him in a while, and met him down at the waterfront, and we sat there in the lobby and talked about, kind of old times and present times and what's going on in college basketball today. So it was great. I mean, I was there for probably, I don't know, maybe over an hour, and we just sat and talked. And I said, "Listen, man, you got a game tomorrow. You need to run." And he said, "Yeah." He said, so he went back to his room, and I went home.
So you got to be back for the Big East, Big 12 battle. Just kind of how was the vibe for you in the Coliseum, and just what'd you think about how the game unfolded?
I thought it was a good game. It was a good game until the end. Mm-hmm. We just didn't stop the drive at the end. They kept driving it at the goal.
They had 18 offensive rebounds. That was kind of a big area where the game was won or lost. That was your niche. You knew really how to coach offensive rebounding. What's the key to just kind of making those extra winning plays under the cup?
Well, have a Soriano. Right. He's been really good in the Big East for a while now. And I thought, he rebounded. If what he didn't rebound, he kept balls alive. And I don't know what the kid's name is, number 8. He was really good. He was really good. He continued just to straight line drive us. He just straight line drove us and got the ball at the end and did a great job of putting his body on people and shielding the ball and scoring. I thought he was the MVP of the game. I thought he did more than Soriano did.
Something we want to talk about, it's Jimmy V week. Everybody knows the legacy of Jim Valvano, which is continued today in the efforts to continue and expand cancer research. What was your relationship like with Jimmy V?
I had a great relationship with Jimmy. I mean, we were both asked to do things with Nike, and so I spent a lot of time with them then. Nike had, at that time, they had a select group of coaches that took your wives and went to some exotic place, and so I got to spend time with Jimmy there. It was Jimmy, Bobby Crimmins. It was it was a who's who, but spent a lot of time with Jimmy. I think what I remember the most, we were playing. I want to say it was in Providence, but it was somewhere like that. It was in an older arena, and I'm in the locker room, and they come in and said, "Jimmy wants to see you." And I said, "Okay, where is he?" And they said, "Come on, we'll take you down." So we walked down the hallway, and he's in a broom closet. He's sitting in a chair in a broom closet, and I went in and sat down, and we had to talk for probably, 45 minutes, and you go in. I mean, what do you do? I said, how you doing? And he said, "That's a hell of a question." He said, "I'm dying of cancer. That's what I'm doing." And I'm like, "Well, I didn't mean it that way." And he just laughed, and it was Jimmy, and we sat there and talked for quite a while. And I went back down and tried to get the team ready to play, but it was in it was a Hall of Fame Classic, I think. I'm pretty sure it was the Hall of Fame Classic, and I don't even remember who we were playing, but we won.
Here we are, 40 years later, and it's Jimmy V week, and they replay that speech, and they've kept his legacy alive through this. And obviously you've been touched by cancer. I've been touched by it. Family members. What's it like for you? 40 years later, you hear that speech, and the guy personally, and you get to see him and hear him, but what's it mean to you?
Well, I knew him real well. I mean, we were part of that group, the Nike group that were called to do, various things. And and had the privilege of going to a lot of different Nike things, and so I spent a lot of time with Jimmy. And I think the last time that I spent much time with him was at Dick Vitale's Cancer Gala down in Florida, and sat with him and we talked, and it wasn't much after that, I don't think, that he passed away. And it hits me because I lost my mother, and my mother is, without a question, the nearest and dearest person in my life. I mean, everybody thinks it was my dad because my dad was a coach and my dad coached me and all that, but it was my mother. I mean, my mother, from the time I was a wee little kid, growing up in Doug Hill, and I can remember like it was yesterday. I go out in the yard, and my grandfather built a house that was supposed to be for my mom and dad and I, a brick house, cement block house. And if you drive up Doug Hill, I think it's still there. It was last time I drove up Doug Hill. And my grandparents were going to move into that house, and we were going to move into that house. And then we ended up staying in the big house, the other house that my grandfather built. And so I'm in the yard, and I look, I hear people down in the ditch. And so I go over and I look down in the ditch, and there's a guy there, and it looked like Barney Fife. I mean, he was dead on Barney Fife. And you know, because I watched Barney Fife on TV. Mm-hmm. So I turn around, I run in the house. Mom, come on, you got to see this, I grab her by the hand, and I'm like going through the yard and down because I wanted her to see Barney Fife. And she looked and says, my son here thinks you're Barney Fife. He said, no, I'm not Barney Fife, but I'm his brother.
Oh, it was Don Knotts' brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was working for the state road.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Good stuff. Well, we're going to take a break here in a few minutes, but or just to get some sponsor stuff taken care of, I want to remind you to head over to pressvirginia.com and also hit us up on the text line 304-909-7040. And that is sponsored by Doug Scaff for Secretary of State and paid for by Doug Scaff for West Virginia. We'll be back after this.
The Full Court Press will be back after these words from our sponsors.
Little General Stores has served our hometowns for decades, providing those essential needs for the road of life. The LG family goes above and beyond to ensure that your experience is an easy one. That's why they offer the LG Rewards Card, a way to earn points for free drinks, coffee, and even discounts on fuel. Rest assured, you'll leave knowing they have your needs covered. Oh, and by the way, tell them Hug sent you. Little General Stores, your road's neighbor.
The relationship between a lawyer and a client is based on trust. You have to make certain that the lawyer you hire has your best interests at heart. This is attorney Ben Salango. Just like the Mountaineers are fighting hard on the field, the Salango Law Firm will fight hard to win your case. Whether it's medical malpractice, automobile or trucking accidents, hiring an experienced lawyer will make a difference in the outcome of your case. When you hire my law firm, you get results, not excuses. Check us out at salangolaw.com.
Ball Automotive Group is here for all your automotive needs. We have 3 locations with over 300 new vehicles available and a great selection of pre-owned vehicles in stock. Ball Automotive has been an integral part of our community, which we have proudly served for over 20 years. With over 1,300 online reviews, you'll see why our customers keep coming back. To see what Advantage Toyota of Barbersville, Ball Toyota of Charleston, and L&S Toyota of Beckley have to offer, visit us online at ballautomotivegroup.com.
Welcome back to the Full Court Press.
And we are back on Full Court Press. Michael Sussman here with Coach Bob Huggins and Anthony Lewis. Great stuff in the last segment. about the great work that the Jimmy V Foundation has done throughout the years, and of course the Norma May Huggins Endowment Fund. And that actually segues us perfectly into one of the questions from our texters.
Yeah, we had some, the text line was really busy last week, and from 304-830, the question is there any hope to continue the fish fry? And we love you, Coach. So are there plans for the fish fry?
We're going to continue the fish fry. It's not going to be during the season, obviously. Now it's going to be after the season. But we are going to continue the fish fry. We are going to get another great guest. We've had, over the years, we've had Rod Thorne. We've had Jerry West. And who else have we had? Somebody else. But we've had the three greatest players ever: Jerry, Rod Thorne, Rod Hundley. They've all been to the fish fry. They've all been up on stage at the fish fry and enjoyed it. I think everybody that comes to the fish fry enjoys the fish fry. It's a fun night. And that's what I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be a fun night, but also a night where we could raise money for cancer and cancer research. And what I decided to do, I was given a lot of money to the hospital, and I decided that I wanted to give it to Hannah. Hannah is a lady who grew up in southern West Virginia. She is one of the great cancer researchers in America, and I wanted to channel money to research. And so I channeled, I think it was, I don't know exactly how much it was, but I whatever we had left in the fund, which was thousands of dollars, to Hannah to use for research. I mean, still at the hospital, obviously, still at the hospital on campus. But I just feel like that. I mean, everybody talks about cancer, but the only thing that's going to make it go away is research. And so why aren't we channeling more money towards research? And that's what I decided to do. And so and I have all the faith and confidence in the world in Hannah and what she's doing there. So it just seemed like the right thing to do. I talked to my brother, who's been great in this endeavor as well, and obviously I love my mother the way I did. So it's just the right thing to do.
And continuing on this weekend, going to be kicking off the big event in Del Barton, which we've been promoting here on the show, and then got some other stuff coming up. But the toy drive starts. The kickoff is this week, and the toy distribution's on the 16th. Are you heading down?
Oh, absolutely. I think that will be something that we'll all walk out there feeling a whole lot better about ourselves.
Absolutely.
To be able to give toys to kids and see the smiles on their face and have them grab the toys and hug the toys. And, I mean, to me, that's like when my two girls were young, and Christmas morning when they got up and got their toys and unwrapped their toys and the smiles on their face and the big hug that you get, from Christmas morning. I think that's what it's going to be like in Del Barton, only with a lot more kids.
Right.
And Johnny's done an absolutely fabulous job with this deal. And, I mean, he has put his heart and soul in it.
For information, you can make sure you're following the Norma May Huggins Endowment Foundation, the Facebook page over there. They're putting out all the information. You can see all that over there. It is Pitt Week. Let's talk Pitt.
Let's do it.
Do we have to?
Let's talk West Virginia, hopefully beating Pitt.
Yeah.
You played in it when it was really the backyard brawl, 75-77. What do you remember from the game as a player?
It was a legit brawl when I played. Yeah. Bake and Maurice and I mean, we still talk about it, a little bit. We had fun, and it was a heck of a rivalry. I remember the carp being thrown down on the floor. I mean, it almost hit me.
You heard that right? The carp with a P.
Carp. Yes.
Somebody fished it out of the Mon and brought it to the Coliseum.
It looked like it came out of the Mon, and it skidded down the floor. Yeah, and then there was the time I went to Pitt and they came in and said, "There's a guy here says he has a gun. He's going to shoot you." And I'm like, "What?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, all right. He better hit me. He better kill me." No.
Did they find him? Was he in the bill?
There was no. That was just that was just people being people. That was not. There was no gun. There was nobody running around trying to shoot anybody. It was just people being. I don't know.
So is the hatred pretty real? I know that it made it personal with you there.
I think hate is maybe too strong a word. I played against them obviously I guess 4 years. I guess four straight years I played against them, and then I coached against them for quite a while. And there's certainly not when I got done playing. Actually, when Bake and Maurice and I got done playing, we went and played in money tournaments, and we played against Pitt guys then, and we game would be over with. We'd go somewhere, get a sandwich, and sit around and talk about the old days, and it was never anything like that. It was just. I remember going up and playing right outside of Wheeling in this little gym, and we were playing. I walked in a locker room. I got a call to come. Hey, listen, I'll give you X amount of money, to come and play on my team. P.I. Drake. I owned a Castle Club, Moundsville, and I'm like, sure, yeah, I'll play. So I come up and I'm playing with the Pitt guys.
Mm-hmm.
You had the Pitt guys. So I walk in the locker room, and everybody's in there. They're how it is in the locker room. They're kind of laughing and talking, and I walk in, dead silence.
Uh-oh.
Dead silence. So I just go. I don't want to. I go in. I get dressed. I go in. So I'm sitting there. It starts with 5 Pitt guys. Great. I'm sitting there on the bench, and I figure, okay, first quarter's over. I'll get in. No, didn't get in. So I'm sitting there. So I'm thinking, if I don't get in by halftime, I'm out of here. Why would I drive all the way up here from Morgantown to sit on the bench? And wasn't very long. Boom, you're in the game, and it was good. I mean, we got along real well. We played. We won big. How it was back then. I'm sure you played, and they'd roll the money up back then. We rolled it up, and they'd hand it to you like they were handing you a cigarette. But it was,
cash.
It was cash. Yeah. So it was good.
The modern day atmosphere, clearly the game has became, or the cheering, let's say, the Mountaineer fans have kind of adapted and adopted Neil Diamond's Sweet Caroline. And they've came up with some pretty creative chants and sayings over the years. But do you get a kick out of that as far as the fans having a lot of fun with it and continuing the rivalry?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, when I was a student, I was one of them. I was doing what they do. So, yeah, I kind of got a kick out of it.
We're going to go to some of the coaching matchups that you had against Pitt. We'll touch on the good. Let's start with one of the heartbreakers. 55-54 at Pitt. Ronald Ramon hits the buzzer beater in the corner. Just what the heck happened on that last play?
We overhelped.
Okay.
Yeah.
We overhelped. We just we're trying to do the right thing, and overhelped and threw it to him, and he made a 3.
Was that your first game coaching against him at West Virginia? I think it may have been.
I don't know if it was or not.
That was quite the heartbreaker. Well, let's go to happier times. So in 08-09, they got you both home and away in the regular season. They were ranked, or they were the second seed in the Garden, and that's when it gets important, when you're playing in the Garden. And you guys got them that night, 74-60. What do you remember about that game, and was that pretty satisfying to know you got to send them home a little early?
I love Deshaun that day.
I believe, would he have 30?
Day was absolutely on fire.
Look it up.
Yeah, he was incredible. He played great. Well, they all played great, and they were obviously, after you get beat by somebody, you're even more ready to play. So we were really ready to play. It was an absolutely great crowd. What I remember is we win the game, and I'm standing there, and I looked, and it was so much gold. And then I kind of looked around, and there was more gold. And there was Madison Square Garden with a ring of gold. Everybody had gold sweatshirts on, gold T-shirts on, whatever, but it was gold. And it was just, I started crying. I mean, I just had tears running down my face that the West Virginia people made the trip from wherever in West Virginia to New York City, and probably paid a pretty good price to get in to see the Mountaineers beat Pitt in the tournament.
Makes it a home away from home.
Yeah, and we played really well in in Madison Square Garden. I mean, our guys played really, really well in Madison Square Garden, but I think a lot of it was the crowd. The crowd was incredible. And I go to the hotel, and, I mean, you walk in a hotel, and people just everywhere. I mean, everywhere dressed in West Virginia garb. And so I go upstairs, and I change clothes, and I walked across the street to a place across the street and couldn't hardly get in because it was packed, and it was packed with West Virginia people. And I think that's probably, coming back, I played there and all that, and then had been going coaching at other places, and then coming back, that was what just was like, I did the right thing coming home.
Mm-hmm. There was over the years, there's been a few incidents, obviously. One of the things we want to ask you about was the famous coin incident where supposedly a student threw a coin at, was it Tom Herron?
Tommy Herron.
Yeah. Was it a coin? What was going on that
day?
We
got the
You had
film.
to get on the PA.
Yeah, I got on the film and just told them, don't throw things on the floor. Don't throw things, don't, we're not out here to hurt somebody. Yeah, but we did get the film. We broke the film down. It wasn't a coin.
Really? What was it?
It was a piece of ice.
It was
a piece of ice. It was a piece of ice. And on the film, you can see him reach in his pocket and drop a coin down on
He pulled a fast one on us.
Yeah.
That's a little tidbit nobody knows.
Well, I mean, hey, technical foul, 2 shots in the ball.
He sounded a little planned. You think he thought that one through for a while?
I don't think he had it going into the game, but
with the circumstance, I guess, presented itself, and he pulled it out.
After getting clocked by a piece of ice, it might have come to him.
Good stuff.
Here with Coach Bob Huggins on Full Court Press. I'm glad to talk some West Virginia versus Pitt. 9 p.m. tip on Wednesday, Coach. You couldn't have gotten us a little earlier start time.
No. I don't. I have absolutely nothing to do with that. I show up when they tell me to show up.
That's what we do as well.
TV time.
Well, Coach, thank you once again for stopping in studio. We'll have him again next week. And you continue. We got over a month down. You're a Full Court Press host solidified. Let's keep it moving.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
I haven't got fired yet then, right?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, good.
And we are back with Derek Bailey and Meg Bolger in studio after this.
The Full Court Press will be back after these words from our sponsors.
You work hard. You deserve a reward. The impressive performance of the new Acura TLX Type S. With a 3.0-liter V6 turbocharged engine that generates 355 horsepower. But that's not all. Reward yourself with the elegance of its sporty cabin. The new Acura TLX Type S. Acura. Precision, crafted performance.
Lester Raines Acura now open in South Charleston, West Virginia. Visit LesterRainesAcura.com today.
Hey, it's Dave Allen for Parmar Stores, and yes, another holiday season is here. Now, you don't need me to tell you how hectic it all is with the shopping, the cooking, the decorating, family, and friends. Well, just remember your local Parmar store is here for you during the holiday season and year-round. From gas to groceries and all the other things you need or may run out of, Parmar has you covered. We are the official convenience store of Marshall University and of the West Virginia Secondary Schools Activities Commission. Happy holidays, and remember, if there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon.
Welcome back to the Full Court Press.
And we are back on Full Court Press, your statewide home for hoops discussion and analysis. The WVU women's team is off to a 7-0 start, and we've got a treat today. Mountaineer all-time great Meg Bolger joins the show. Meg, how are you today?
Oh, I'm great, Anthony. Thanks so much for having me. Excited to talk to you again.
So 7-0, you bring in Mark Kellogg from Stephen F. Austin, and so far it seems like a home run. We're not to the conference slate yet, but just what's impressed you with Coach Kellogg and the Mountaineers so far?
Man, he's just he's a basketball guy, and if you like I'm kind of like a basketball dork. I love talking, X's and O's, and I love just the fundamentals of the game. And when you talk to him, he doesn't come across as, some basketball guy that only can talk about that, but he gets it, and he has such a great basketball mind that I really respect and appreciate. He just is all around just a great guy from the times that I've been around and been able to have a conversation with him. And I mean, obviously where he came from, all he's done is win, and it's very clear why. I mean, you step into this program that's, had a lot going on the last two or so years, and bring in all kind of new girls, and to mold that together and to gel the way that he's done this so quickly is so impressive, and it's so hard to do. And just in the few games that I've seen and have called and gone to, this team has some chemistry already that's very hard to build, especially this early in the season.
And that was the thing I was going to ask you about. This is the third coach in 3 years. That's a tough task. Can you just talk a little bit about the process there and a little bit more about how this team has came together already? It seems like there's been a seamless transition.
Yeah, which, all the excuses are there for this team to, have some up and downs and, well, this is my rebuilding year and this is they're laid out, but that's kind of been eliminated from what I've seen. It was kind of to be honest, it was a crappy situation last year for the girls. And I felt really bad the way that all played out when you're, buying into somebody and what they tell you they're going to build a program. And then, you're just kind of gone in the night. That's a shame. And, a lot of those girls didn't deserve it, but I respect the heck out of the girls that decided to stay. And it shows a lot about their character, first and foremost. Girls like Jayla and JJ and Kaya Watson and, Kylie Blackston. It shows a lot about who they are and the fact that they wanted to stay together. And I think it's a tribute to them and for Coach Kellogg to come in and be able to regain that confidence in a coach. And I think that's it's really special. And he's been able to do that very quickly.
We're here with Meg Bolger on Full Court Press. One of the players you mentioned there, JJ Quinterly, is off to a terrific start, 17 points per game, and her production's gone up each of the last 3 seasons. What have you seen in her development?
I'll tell you what, I know I'm on record. I can't tell you which game or when, but her freshman year, I knew she was going to be special. I mean, that girl has every single facet of the game. I mean, defense, offense. She is one of the quickest players I've ever seen, just in every area. I'm so impressed watching her play. And when you have a player like that sticks with the program, is a leader, probably more of a show by example leader, that can't be understated. And this year, I think it's such a great piece with missing Madison Smith, the facilitator, but to have someone come in, this sophomore, the point guard, Jordan Harrison, she's unbelievable. And it gives JJ the ability to stay true to being a 2 guard and a scorer rather than have to, handle the ball more, which I think is a much better position for her. on the floor when she can worry about scoring first and foremost.
You know, it seems like the more things change, the more they stay the same. This team is one of the top defensive teams in the Big 12. In their holding teams in the 40s and 50s, and even when they get into those tough grind them out games, I think was it Charlotte? It was 56-52, or it was in the 50s. But defensively, they look like they're going to be a pretty strong basketball team, which has been the characteristic of West Virginia women's basketball for the last 15, 20 years.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny how that happens. And I'd be amiss to not mention Lauren Field. What an addition she has been. She is tenacious on the defensive end. She's great on the offensive end as well. And I saw them when they came up here to play Pitt. And, again, like the game that you mentioned, there was sometimes I think Pitt maybe went ahead 10, but their consistency on the defensive end is what's so important. And I think Coach Kellogg said yesterday after the St. Bonaventure game, he said, we're not quite, even though they scored 90 points, we're not quite where we need to be offensively. But defense has, as you mentioned, has been their bread and butter. I mean, they're creating so much offense from their defense. They play very smart defensively as well. They do a lot of traps. Their on-ball pressures is phenomenal. They just do. I think their guards work really well up front defensively, and just creating havoc and creating some turnovers. So really, really love the way that they play and the style of the play that I've seen from them.
You got Penn State up next, and then a few mid-major games. You get conference play underway against Kansas on the 30th. The Mountaineer women went 10-8 in the Big 12 last year. What's the landscape in the conference?
I mean, it's tough. You got some ranked teams right now, Baylor, Texas, and Kansas State. I want to say they're 12, 13, 14, somewhere in that mix. But it's so early. We know how things can change, very quickly once conference starts. So that'll be interesting. They've had some good tests. I think tomorrow is going to be a very good barometer of where they really are. Penn State has played 2 Big 12 teams already, Kansas and I believe Oklahoma State, and they beat them. So you kind of, I hate to play that game of, well, they beat them by 5 and we beat them by, but you kind of do. So I think that's a good battle test for them and seeing where they are, because Penn State's a really great team that can put up a lot of numbers. They have some great scorers. They shoot the ball well. And the fact that they've played 2 Big 12 teams and beat them, it'll be interesting to see how West Virginia, handles them tomorrow. And I think that'll be a good test to see, maybe where they land heading into conference play.
That's WVU women's basketball all-time great Meg Bulger on Full Court Press. Meg, we really appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Oh, no. Anytime I get to talk about West Virginia, you guys know I'm down.
Thanks, Meg. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you,
stuff
guys.
There with Meg Bulger. Anthony, you were right next to her working at the university. What stands out? What were kind of some of your top Meg moments?
Well, obviously, she came in during the rebuilding portion of the Mike Carey era. Her sister was already there. She was highly recruited when she came out of I don't remember. I don't know if she went to the same school her brother went to or not, but when she was coming out, it was like, oh, we're getting Kate's sister. And she went on to prove, obviously, it wasn't just little sister. She could play basketball. She's obviously in the WVU Sports Hall of Fame, battled through 2 knee injuries in her career, could just straight out shoot. And you got to remember, when she was there, think about the teams they were playing against, the Rutgers and the UConns of the world.
Yeah, that UConn team was pretty fierce then.
Yeah. So, but, it's great that she's getting the opportunity to continue to cover WVU sports. And also, she clearly, is getting to move over to the men's side and do color commentating. So she's doing a great job.
And it was cool to see her talk about the players that stayed and the tough situation that they were in the offseason. I think there was some ill will with Coach Plitzowait and how abruptly she left, maybe even some speculation that she was thinking about going to Minnesota. So to see the instant success and to see the program in such a good position really is wonderful. And it's wonderful to wrap up another edition of Full Court Press. Have a wonderful day.
For access to our social media and radio affiliate information, visit pressvirginia.com.
Full Court Press is produced by Michael Sussman and Anthony Lewis in partnership with HD Media and Vandalia Media. For more information about Full Court Press, visit PressVirginia.com.